Hello friends, it's been so long and I am so sorry. I've not been reading, I haven't really had any ideas of some content, but April just ended, which means the first quarter of 2026 is over now. So I figured I would give you guys some of my reading stats so far, maybe some of my favorite books so far this year, maybe some of my least favorite, and just some bookish updates in general. So I am such a book nerd that I actually have an entire Excel spreadsheet that not only has every single book that I own on it, but I also have one for each year, and it has things like how many books I read a month, how many total books, how many pages, new authors, my star ratings, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys the summary. So far this year, I have read 29 books. Now you're about to be blown away because I can tell you that most of them were read in 1 month. So in the month of January, I read 6 books. In the month of February, I read 19 books. Guys, I was just feeling myself, okay? I had nothing better to do with myself. So to cheer myself up, I was just binge reading, and I can honestly say February was probably one of the best months I've had in literal years. Like, February was just fire. I actually enjoyed just sitting around and reading. That was so fun. So I read 19 books, and in March I only read 2, and in April I also only read 2. I am in the middle of quite a few books. I've been in the mood to read, but I'll be real with y'all. I've had migraines almost every day for the last 3 weeks, and that's really put a damper in my reading mood. I can't even focus to watch TV, let alone sit in front of a book. So I'm hoping that will start to get better. I'm hoping drinking more water and sleeping will start to help. But I do have plans to read more this month, okay? It is May 1st today, and I plan on reading. And if I don't, you guys can yell at me, okay? But I have plans. So I have read 29 books. Of those 29 books, I've DNF'd 1 actually. Let me not lie, I have DNF'd 1 book so far this year. And that was The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. I was super excited to finally read a Stephen Graham Jones book, let alone this is his newest release, and I've heard good things about it. I could not get into it. I'm not even gonna lie, I wasn't even 40 pages in. I really was not a fan of the writing at all. I had to keep going back and rereading pages. It just was not a vibe for me. And I will admit that I did go back and I read some people's reviews and I did spoil it for myself. And just hearing what people said the book was actually about, I wouldn't have liked it. I know myself and I know I wouldn't have liked it. So unfortunately that was a DNF. I do have another book by him I do want to try, but this was really not a good first impression. And you guys can see my live reaction of reading this book and my thoughts more in detail in my library haul reading vlog, which I can link down below, where I kind of tell you guys more as to why I was not feeling it. So that was the only DNF so far. Now we can actually go on to the books that I have read and the ratings that I've given. I've given 4 1-star ratings, 6 2 stars, 5 3 stars, 6 4 stars, and 8 5 stars. I've actually read quite a few books that I've really enjoyed this year. I feel like it's been a good mix of books I have and have not really enjoyed. There were a couple disappointments. There were a couple books that I heard good things about and I just was not for me, but then there were a couple that I've never heard anyone talk about and I became obsessed with. So that was exciting that I've read that many good books so far this year. That's giving me hope. Also, my Goodreads reading goal this year is 55 books, and I am 12 books ahead of schedule, I think it says. So yeah, I'm doing great. I'm over halfway. I've almost read 30 books, so that's really exciting for me because I don't think I've ever read that many books in such a short amount of time. But like I said, February I was on something, okay? I was just reading. I can also break this down into the different genres that I've read this month. So I have read 1 thriller, 9 fantasy, I have read 1 historical fiction, 4 horror books, 2 romance books, 2 smutty books, 7 science fiction, which is crazy, but I have been geeking over the sci-fi this year, and even my book club people, we've read 2 or 3 sci-fi books and they've been 5 stars for me, like amazing. And then I've read 4 non-fiction books, which has been really fun, and one of them is actually one of my favorite books so far this year that I'm gonna tell you guys about. Alright, I want to talk to you guys about my 2 least favorite books so far this year, and they probably, unless I read something worse, will be on my worst books of 2026. The first one is At Dark I Become Loathsome by Eric LaRocca. Fun fact, I started this book last year, like last February. It took me a year to read this, and you guys may say, well, maybe that's why you didn't like it, you took too long to read it. No, no, no. I remembered everything that was happening. I'm actually very good with that. I can set a book down and pick it up and remember it all. It's one of my crazy book mind things that goes on, but this book in general was just awful. And if you guys have watched any of my horror videos, you know that I love Eric LaRocca. Like, I actually really like Eric LaRocca's writing. This was just a sad boy who was so depressed and just kept repeating over and over and over, "At dark, I become loathsome." It was just absurdly grotesque and sexual. For why? For why? I have no idea, okay? I think I do have a video where I also go more in depth as to why this book is garbage, so I can also link that down below for you guys to check out. But in general, this book was just not good. And again, I like Eric LaRocca, so I was super excited. I think this cover is stunning, and it's also a fatter book for him. Normally his books are pretty small, they're more like novella type books, but this one was just, it was not good. The other book that I just did not like at all, 1 star, like wish I could give both of these books like negative stars, was The Spite House by Johnny Compton. And I can tell you, one of my favorite booktubers talks about this book quite often, even has it displayed on her shelf, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I was so excited. It had a cool concept and it was just bad. Again, I think I do talk about this book as well in a vlog that I did. I don't get the hype. I didn't understand it. It wasn't scary. It was boring. Like, I pushed through it. It was only like 200 something pages. So I honestly don't even remember what it was about. I just know that it was not what I thought it was, and it was not good. Now I want to talk about maybe like 1 or 2 books that I've been hearing great things about for years, and I finally got around to reading, and I don't get the hype, okay? These are just like overhyped to me. First one, Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. The Wayward series, the kids that find doors, and like, it was okay. I don't personally get the hype. Another one that's very similar to that I have like 30 minutes of the audiobook left of, that I would also like to tell you about, is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Both of those kind of gave me the same vibes, and both of those, maybe they're just not my thing. I didn't really get the hype. They're both fine. Like, I'll probably give House in the Cerulean Sea a 3 star. I think I gave Every Heart a Doorway a 3 star, but they weren't anything memorable. Like, I don't remember much about the first one. And The House in the Cerulean Sea is also kind of the same vibe. Orphanage, kids with magic powers. I don't know if I'm that kind of reader. Maybe that's just not my thing, and I've discovered that. But those are 2 books that I have found super overhyped. The other one that I want to mention that I think is super overhyped is more towards like the smutty book talk girlies. The Ritual by Chantel Tessier, however you say that. This is the Lord series. My coworker made me read this, and while I can say it was one of the smuttiest books I have ever read, it was alright. Like, that's the thing. All 3 of these books, none of them were bad. They're all like 3 stars, middle of the road, but I just don't understand why they are so popular and why so many people like them. Like, the smut in this was smutting, but other than that, the story was just your classic like secret society dark men. Like, it wasn't anything uber unique, I guess. Those are just 3 books that I feel like are so hyped up, and I personally don't get it at all. So to get back on a more positive note again, I'm gonna tell you guys about some of my favorite books that I have read so far this year. And I mean, I don't know, we still have 3/4 of the year left, so as long as I keep reading like I'm reading and I read more good books, these are gonna be on my best books of the year. Again, we have a long time, and like I could definitely read some more 5 stars that outbeat these, but it's gonna be some tough competition this year because these books that I have are amazing. The first one I read this year that really blew my mind is not shocking because I love her other books, but that's The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Y'all, if you haven't read One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, her Shepherd King duology, do it. I have a whole video dedicated to that series, okay? And this is her newest release. The newest book in this series is coming out later this year. I'm screaming for it, okay? They just released the cover. It's beautiful, okay? This cover is also beautiful. It permanently sits right here facing out, okay? It's stunning. This book was amazing. Amazing! I sat here and read it in like a couple days, okay? Absolutely beautiful, like very gothic, same as her Shepherd King. It just makes you feel like you need to wear a pretty heavy princess gothic gown and run through dreary castles, okay? And she has a freaking gargoyle companion who is just like the most wholesome little guy ever. Y'all, the next one that I read, I'm kind of going in chronological order of how I read these this year. This one was probably the most shocking to me. I simply read it for one of my TBR prompt jar videos, and I was just blown away that no one is talking about this, and that's Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie. Why is no one talking about this? Also, the second book for this is coming out in July, and I'm also squealing. These are like my 2 most anticipated book releases, is the sequel to The Night and the Moth and the sequel to Immortal Consequences, alright? I'm so freaking excited. I will pay full price on release day for these, okay? But this book was just, think like a competition but set in the afterlife. Like, it was just amazing. And again, you can see my live reaction and my live thoughts to this in another video, which I can link all these videos down below. But basically every video that I've filmed so far this year, I've talked about one of these books, so just check them out if you want more. But this book especially was probably one of the best books. Like, Rachel Gillig has my heart, but this book just absolutely took my breath away, and I was like, why is no one talking about it? My next one I'm going to tell y'all about is actually a nonfiction. Now, y'all, if you have been watching some of my videos, know that I am a science girly, I am an ocean girly, but that being said, I think that genuinely, if you're even curious about the ocean or like water, you should read this book. It is by our freaking king, Sir David Attenborough, okay? It is Oceans, Earth/Wilderness, and this book, I think this is my favorite nonfiction book I've ever read. This is not super science heavy. This is really David Attenborough talking about the different parts of the ocean and his experiences and some of the really cool things that he's seen, and then some of the conservation efforts that are going into it. It was so good. This is a work of art, and I mean, it's not shocking. It's David Attenborough. He is the freaking narrator of like every good documentary on planet Earth, okay? But this book just kind of, I was crying. Like, I just cried reading this whole book. The ending, I was crying. Like, he just has a way with words, and I mean, that's why he's a great narrator. That's why he's a great advocate for saving our planet. He is just amazing. He'll be 100 years old this month. 100 years old this man has been on this planet and seen this planet crumble because of things that we have done, and he still has hope. That's crazy. That's crazy. So this month for book club, I have been trying to get these ladies to read this book for a year now, and we use a spinner wheel, and the wheel has just not liked me. Well, the wheel liked me this past month, and it finally chose Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Y'all, I finally did it. I finally started this series. I was told about this series when me was in the 9th grade. I was a freshman in high school. My freshman English teacher told me about this series. That's how long it's been, okay? So I have had this book for a long time. This book came out in 2013 and people are still talking about it. This series is huge. I think he's coming out with the final book this year. Like, everyone and their mother talks about Red Rising. I had a friend, she was a romance girly. She read this book and now she reads everything. Okay, like, this book changes lives, and I now see why. I now see why, and I get the hype, and it's amazing, and I am about to read book 2 because I just finished this, what, yesterday? Yesterday. This was amazing. This was so good. For those of you that don't know what this is about, it basically follows a character named Darrow, and Darrow is a red. Basically, in this world, we're on Mars. We've terraformed Mars. On this world, there's like a hierarchy, and each hierarchy or layer is a color. So he is a red, he is the bottom, he is treated like garbage, the top is a gold, and it's basically all about the bottom man getting tired of the inequality and rising to the top. And it is just savage, it is funny, it is so, like, the morals and the story and the themes like really hit home. Yes, we don't live on Mars. Yes, we don't have a crazy caste system like this, but it is still relevant to our society, like the underdogs and revolution, and it is just amazing, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if you guys maybe see me binge the whole series and then upload a video about it, so get ready because this is about to be my whole personality. Alright, y'all, so I've given you guys some of my stats for this year so far. I've given you some of my favorites, my least favorites, and some books that I just didn't understand the hype about. Now, look, I have some plans to read. Is it gonna happen? Yes, I'm manifesting that it will, okay? But I really hope to get better about uploading again. Alright, I know I said this in my last video, but I miss it. I miss you guys. I miss talking to a camera. I don't have book friends, so it's really nice just to be able to get it out there. And if you guys watch, that's awesome. And if you guys make comments, that's even better. We can have a chit chat. But I definitely plan on reading more. There's quite a few series that I want to actually start this year. There's quite a few standalones that I want to read this year. Obviously, you guys now know my plans of reading all of Red Rising. It is gonna happen, okay? That series will be eaten up before the next book comes out. And same with The Night and the Moths sequel and Immortal Consequences sequel. Those will be read when they come out, okay? You have no doubt. They will be read, okay? Read Rachel Gillig and read Immortal Consequences. And check out David Attenborough's book. It's fire, okay? I'm telling you, it's fire. And if you want to feel something real that happens in our real world, read it. Also, Pippin is here to say hey. He was just destroying stuff, so now he's gonna try to be nice to me. Anyway, I'm rambling like I always do, so I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go. Wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a comment. Tell me how your year's been. How many books have you read? It doesn't matter how many, honestly. Why do we have such a stigma around like reading so much? Just read whatever you want. If it's 1 book, if it's 0 books, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing what you want, right? But I plan on reading more this year, and I hope you guys stick around to see what I read. Anyway, I will see you guys in another video, hopefully not too far away. We'll see, but bye.